All right, so talking about Gen Con in general, just really, really awesome thing. I'm Aaron Squire, Charles Zamit. I'm doing the some commentary. I got picked up at Hex or at Gen Con to be part of the Hex TCG Pro team, so I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty stoked to get into that team. I don't have a lot of pro tour experience or anything like that. I've done some PTQs, and back when they had states, I did some states tournaments. But I'm more or less. I've done some dungeon mastering, and I've also and so those modules will probably be we'll probably post those on the website somewhere
Guys,
at some point in
I'm
time.
gonna take a picture of Joshua.
Take a picture with Joshua. You do
Yeah,
that later.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. I'm also I'm also a father of two with one on the way. That's my 3-year-old Elliot, and that's Joshua's playing in the other room right now. So, leading up to the convention, what I did to prepare was I'm already someone that's in decent shape, so the walking and stuff like they suggested. Um, I was already pretty good. Even then, though, you got to be careful how much stuff you're carrying around because uh, it was definitely certain muscles in my legs were strained after day one of walking around with my backpack. So you gotta, really judge how much stuff you need to carry around. Another thing I did to prep for the convention is I went online and I went through painstakingly all the events. And what I did is I made up a list of events. Let me just make this a little bit bigger because I'm sure it's really small. Yeah, let's make this bigger. All right. So I've made a list of all the events that they had, and I put them in time order. And then I actually, before I went, I only signed up for um, 2 events, and so those are the ones I prepaid for. And then beyond that, I got like 40 tickets. I probably didn't need to $40 in general tickets. I probably didn't need that much. I actually turned in $10 worth and got 9.50 back. So when you're turning in your general tickets, realize that you're going to end up coming behind on that 10 cents every ticket. Um, so it is what it is. Um, so basically, I happen to get there a little bit early. It's nice to get there the day before because you can get your badge. You can stand in line. They've recently changed it so that when you buy your badge, you can get it's open. It's open all. It's open 24 hours to get your badge. So if the line looks really long, you can come back. You can come back at any point in time at night, and then the line should be thinned out. The line took about I want to say it was like 30 minutes. Here, I'll show you the line here. I didn't take as many pictures as I should have. I'll be honest. So I actually some of these pictures are going to be stolen from other people that I found online. Let's see here. Just yeah, I can go through these while it is that. Huh. Where is it? Oh, maybe. Yeah. So yeah, this was actually down the hallway. This yeah, this line here. So I'm standing in line. You basically had to go through this hallway, go into another hallway, and then you were there. But they had some entertainment on the line, so it wasn't too bad. These guys were pretty much entertaining all weekend. There's all kinds of entertainment type of things. Actually, so they're some of the nicest people there at the con. People I just met there took me over to the Ram, which is just down the street. The Ram is a brew house, which has they're basically the brewery for War Machine. So for all you War Machine people, that is where you should be making your pilgrimage to. They had a special edition War Machine miniature this year. They only had like 1,000 of them. It was like $110, and you got like a little diorama and all kinds of crazy stuff with it. And yeah, those went like probably day one or day two. They were gone right away. Some of the people I met there. Um, this was us waiting to get into the doors of the convention. Uh, where they'll be where they threw out the first dice and all that. This guy was up there. They were doing balloon stuff all weekend. You'll see some other people have brought this stuff. I didn't take a lot of pictures of cosplay. I figure that stuff's out there and people want to see it. They want to see it. Um, but yeah, so got my badge the day before. Went to the Ram. Next day,
Hey, you wanna come here?
you can come in. Next day, I went to what was it? Started off the day by doing what they call the pilgrimage to Steak and Shake, because it's right there on the corner. It ends up being a lot of people that go there. All you can eat pancakes. The funny thing was, is I was standing in line. There's some people behind me. I kind of wanted to sit down and eat. A lot of people were getting stuff to go, and they came over and they're like, "How many in your party?" I was like, "How many of you guys?" Basically we just called everyone over and we just all sat at the same table because the place is of course packed before the convention had started. This is around 9 o'clock in the morning. Did our opening ceremonies. Went straight into the vendor area. So at every Gen Con, if you may or may not know that I found this out the night before. Luckily, what they did is typically they do a swag bag. Instead of that, they had a coupon book which looked like this. Let me just pull that up. Make sure you can see me a little bit better. Let's go up here. Right, so they have a coupon book that looks like this. It has all these different coupons in it that you could do. Some of them were free. A lot of it was just for money off of things. But the one that I definitely wanted to get was the Gen Con dice. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it that well. It basically says Gen Con 2013 on it on the 6 side. But then they have a Gen Con dice set, so I went ahead and bought that. This is from the Crystal Palace. It was like, I think it was like 10. So I got that right away. I wasn't planning on spending on too much money there. Unfortunately, I probably spent a little bit more than I should have. So I went from there to Cryptozoic area, kind of talked to them. Went from there to try to demo Hex, having some problems. Basically, they had a bunch of computers that were having problems getting them networked properly. Because of the wireless, and my theory is that the wireless was probably being interfered with all the different cell phones and different things like that in the area that were probably they were probably using DHCP, and everything was calling out trying to pull IPs, and so yeah, and plus the waves themselves, yeah, it is what it is. So they basically had to go. I think they bought switches for the stuff and then ran Cat5 cable to connect all the computers. At some point in time, I met Eric Summerer. So if you are watching this, thanks for playing a game with me. We played the Three Little Pigs game. Really fun game for my kids. I didn't end up picking it up. I'll probably pick it up a little bit later. I got some different things for the kids, which I'll probably talk about like when Christmas comes around, because that's when they're going to see those things. I demoed the Super Dungeon Explorer one day, and I liked it so much that I had to pick it up. I'm a model person, so I do a lot of painting. The game is it's a hefty game. It was $100, and it's basically a gauntlet type game. I haven't put the models together yet. A lot of people are complaining about putting together the models for it, but I think that's because most of these people are not hobbyist gamers, where they do a lot of building models and putting things together type of stuff. So that's where the complaints lie. They expected it to be out of the box. I already have all the models put together, and that's not what it is. The models were made by Soda Pop Games. They're very, very excellent models. I read the Wikipedia on it, and they say it's in the Super Chibi something or other vein, where it is that the heads are deformed, where the head's about the size of the body, and that's true. So it should be a very interesting model to paint up for sure. Also, at Cryptozoic, I got a chance to do some of the deck building, and I found out deck building is really just not my thing. I just don't like. I think deck building would be better for me if my opponent shuffled every time for me. The biggest thing is I'm shuffling like 10 or 12 cards, and it's kind of like, what am I doing here? Is this even really randomizing anything? Because I don't feel like it is. So I think that was my biggest problem with the deck building. It's not horrible, but deck building genre in general, I decided is just not my thing. But I did like the Cryptozoic, the Hobbit board game. This is it's an adventure board game. It's mostly based upon these dice rolls. You're going to have basically you're going to have objectives to complete, and if you don't complete them, you will fail, and everybody wins together or everyone fails together. It's mostly based on the dice. You're going to have different options of different things you can use to try to offset the dice a little bit. And so it's very much a cooperative thing where it is that someone will roll the dice, and then you're going to say to them, well, we should press our luck a little bit or not. You get like 3 rolls on the dice. To try to come up with one of the objectives, and then if you don't come up with any of them, then you basically you have like you lose resources. That's what it was. And so once you're out of resources, you're done with the game, and everybody loses. So it's a cooperative game. It's a game that I felt like I could play with anybody, which is really important to me because the circles that I run in, typically people can't play a lot of the high-end stuff like the World of Warcraft board game that's sitting behind me, or what's the other game? Twilight Imperium. Yeah. So yeah, games like that you have to find the right people to play with. Whereas other games like Apples to Apples or like this Hobbit board game or other things, those are games, or Ticket to Ride is another one I can play with anybody. So it's really important for me to have light games that I can play with a crowd that is not into heavy board games. Moving forward, what else? So I'll just tell a quick story about how I met the guys. So day one, I'm waiting in line. We waited in line like 3 times on day one to get into the Hex TCG demo, basically. And standing behind me one of the times was Shaggy, and I actually started just talking to him because I'm, somewhat sociable, and so I started talking to him, and he and we had a good chat, and so it was like and so it was like on Friday before the dinner, I was like, man, I hope these guys call me, because I had sent them my phone number. No one had called me or texted me or anything from their website. And so it was Saturday morning, the day after the dinner. Of course, I had some late nights every night there, and I ended up seeing them in the food court, and I saw Shaggy again, and I walked over and started talking to him, just saying, hey, what's up, not recognizing who he was. And then like all of them were there, and they started talking about something. I forget what it was exactly that tipped me off, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should have realized who you were. So sat down with them, talked with them, and that's when they basically took me on as a Hex TCG Pro member to start producing content for them. So kind of interesting. It just kind of shows my what do you call it? The movie Flubber, the professor from that movie, absent-minded professor. Yeah, that was an absent-minded professor moment for me for sure. Trying to think. So I did also end up going. I don't have my cup with me here to show you, but I went to the Drunk Ass Games dinner, which is a company that makes a bunch of games which are for drinking. I didn't do Death Cup. They have 2 products: Death Cup, which is quarters variant, and then they have one which is basically Drunk Munchkin, which is called Drunk Quest. I got 1 card from that as a promo. I didn't end up buying the Drunk Quest itself. Funny thing is, this Wolverine guy was actually there. A lot of you might have seen him around the con, so I'm going to pull up a picture of him, and we'll show you that. So yep, there we are during the Drunk Quest. Really nice guy. I can't. He's obviously not Wolverine from the movies, but I think he's a little bit buffer. So, anyways, really nice guy. Really fun time. If you're of age, and that's something that interests you, obviously get a designated driver and make sure you're being safe. But that was a really good time. So if you're going to the con next year, it was $42. You got a meal, you got your first 2 drinks, and then you had to pay for drinks after that. But it was a really good time, and I would definitely do that again if I got the chance. So I didn't take very many pictures of cosplay, but one of my favorite animes is the Gurren Lagann. I actually started. I saw this in Iraq, and I picked it up and I watched it all in Japanese, and I rebought it in English because I like my anime in English. Don't stone me, anime people. Uh, but at the con, I actually caught this person, and she's dressed up as Yoko from the anime. Actually, you didn't even see the last thing. Okay, so I'll switch this back. Yeah, here's what it looks like. So this is. I'm pretty sure that this was somewhere in France. It was some sort of something. It was in basically a local Haji store where I got that, and but it was just exciting to see everybody there. There's a lot to do there. Obviously, you don't want to overwhelm yourself with anything while you're there. Have a plan going into it of some things. That's what really kind of guided me. I also played the D&D Next, and that was interesting as well. It's not too much different really to say there. I mean, it's more D&D. They kind of try to make the system more like just like the interview said, we try to take the best of all the systems and then combine it into one thing. And so, but at the end of the day, to me, I'm more on the role playing side and less on the rule meister side of role playing. So, I mean, as long as the role playing elements are there, I'm okay with it. And it basically it just changed some mechanics and some different things. That's all it did. Things like if you charge, for instance, you can't double move, charge, get +2 attack and -2 defense. In order to charge, it has to be within your move range. That was a big problem before because someone would be like, I'm going to double move and then I want to attack. And then you'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. Then you'd say, okay, well, I'm going to charge. And you'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's fine. So, yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense. They also had basically encounter powers. Let me see if I can find my character sheet. Yeah, it's right here. So here was my character sheet for it. I went ahead and with a dwarf warrior. I typically play clerics or some sort of mage or something. But they had class features. Like everyone seemed to have action surge, which is you can take an additional action, but you have to complete a short rest or a long rest before you can use it again. So that's like action points, which have been taken from other systems. So that would allow you to make your double move and then do your action, and you can only do that once per combat. That's kind of very much harkens me back to 4.0 rules with the encounter powers. Beyond all that, I mean, it's D&D. I mean, at the core of it is D&D. It'll always be D&D. And so they just kind of like try to smooth out some things and make it less RPG-like from the 4.0 because there was so much hate for that. I personally was okay with 4.0, but yeah, that is what it is. Let's see if there's anything else I've left out. It doesn't really look at like it. I mean, I did meet some people from Reddit. Reddit was a good place to meet some people, so I kind of hung out with different people. We went to a karaoke bar, which went all right, I guess. It was a decent time. Unfortunately, I am a musician, so for me to be in there and not be able to hear well was a problem. I mean, I can accept that at the karaoke bar that there are going to be some people that have no sense of tone or making sure that they're staying on key when they're singing. I'm okay with that. I understand that there's just certain percentage of the population that has no perception of that. But what I'm not okay with is when it is that you're up there and you can't hear yourself singing. There's no monitor for you because the place was basically a dive. It was a very tiny place. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. It would have been nice. I guess there was another place that closed down, the Chunky Monkey or something. That one was the one that I guess was a lot better. So unfortunately, I didn't get to experience that. But yeah, this is Aaron Squire again, just talking to you through some of my Gen Con experiences. Hopefully giving you some different ideas, some different things to look forward to if you're going to go next year. Or if you saw me at the con, give me a shout out on my YouTube or anything else. Again, I'm looking forward to do a lot of Hex content. In the meantime, I'm gonna play some of whatever this thing is called, the new. What is this game called? Soul Forge. I started playing it. It's really not my cup of tea. It's a very light game to me. I also feel like there are some inherent mechanical problems with it. but I'll talk about those when I'm playing. Other than that, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope my kids didn't get too crazy for you. But yeah, we'll see you guys later. Have a good one. God bless you and your families, and try not to rage out there too much.